Real quickly before I jump into the video, I want to let you guys know about something in Call of Duty World War II for the next week that is active right now that you may very well want to take advantage of. As we talked about in yesterday's video, we were aware that, of course, the contract for the weapons from Corporal Green would refresh. We had the Sterling last week, we had some Winter Siege weapons before that, but now this week we have another Blitzkrieg item in the mix, that being the ITRA Burst. Now, this one I would definitely say to take advantage of because though it did get a slight nerf to it, it is still a fantastic weapon, still one that if you guys are accurate, you can one-burst players from across the map. So definitely a weapon you want to have in your arsenal, but it is available right now for 5,000 armory credits from Corporal Green. All you need to do is get 30 rifle kills in an hour's time frame, and that's it. Then you can net the actual base ITRA Burst. And so if you have not gotten that out of supply drops, out of collections, whatever it may be, now is a perfect opportunity to get it for yourself in what seemingly is almost a steal. 5,000 armory credits might seem like a lot up front, but when you can actually get that weapon that is going to be a beast for what may be the rest of World War II, it's definitely worth it. So check it out if you guys have not done so already. Grab those out, shouldn't take you all that long, but get playing with a solid weapon. So just a little over a month ago, I came home to start prepping content for Call of Duty World War II's DLC 2, the War Machine launch. That was something that I went out to Sledgehammer early, and from then on, I actually in every single live stream up until that launch of the DLC, I got asked the question if there was a new event in the build that we played, to which, full transparency, there was not. We did not have availability to anything that we saw with the Blitzkrieg event, but it was something that was a very valid question. Those builds that we play, obviously, are the builds that we play whenever the DLC actually launches to the public, so for those that are wondering, it was a very valid question. However, as we know now, things did not shake up for an actual event coming at the launch of DLC 2 on PlayStation 4. We actually got it shortly thereafter, but the question persisted on when it would happen because the update that we got with the DLC actually brought a lot more questions than answers over anything else. So in that, of course, for just a slight recap, you guys may remember, we actually got our first real hints at the weapons that we were going to get that we now know of: the Type 38, the Type 5, the ITRA Burst, the M2, and then as well the Sterling. So those were, of course, added in the challenges. We did not have access to them, but if they're in the challenges, it's a pretty good indicator they're going to be coming at some point. Additionally, we ended up seeing some things in the paint job layering as well that gave us a lot of hints as to those weapon icons that we'd see in the kill feed, plus what was a new division that we had yet to see. That icon or seal or that emblem was in the paint job layering. Ultimately, this led up to what we know of as the Blitzkrieg event, and now flashing forward to present day, 1 week after the Blitzkrieg event ended, this time around, there's not as many hints as when we last examined when the next event could be. This really all comes from the basic inferences and using our detective work to our advantage. Again, last time we had that luxury of the new event clues, those things being what we just mentioned, as well as the new menu UI, the new headquarters, which is still the same by the way, and the challenges and the icons back then for the things that were yet to be released. And so this time around, we have those weapons added. The only thing that we've yet to see out of all of that still is that new division, which I'm greatly looking forward to seeing how that'll come about, especially because we've seen progress in the data mined game files as of the past couple of weeks, so it's being something that is consciously worked on and being expanded in some way, shape, or form, so it's only a matter of time. But other than that, we still have no real information about DLC 3 or when this event will take place officially, but let's take a look at what we can break apart. So let's take a look at the prior patterns that we've seen already established in the event cycle. We've had 4 events so far: Winter Siege, the Resistance event, Shamrock and Awe, and then the Blitzkrieg event as well. Those each lasted a few weeks in time, some longer than others, but relatively right around the 3-week window is how long each of those lasted. So to break it down a little further, Winter Siege started on December 8th and went to January 2nd, which if you break that down was 3 weeks and 4 days in length. Then, 21 days later, so 3 weeks after the Winter Siege event ended, we had the Resistance event start, which was January 23rd to February 27th, starting a few days before the launch of PlayStation 4's DLC 1 and lasting until a few days after, or shortly right before, I forget which one off the top of my head, the Xbox One and PC release for DLC 1 happened, so it lasted 5 weeks in total. So it was the longest event we'd actually have seen in World War II to date, and still, to this date, it is the longest we've seen as well. Then, after that one ended on February 27th, 14 days later on March 13th, we saw the introduction of Shamrock and Awe, which went for 3 weeks time, so March 13th to April 3rd. Then, 14 days later, we ended up seeing the BLITZKRIEG event from April 17th until last week of May 8th, lasting 3 weeks in total. So that Shamrock and Awe was kind of one that situated itself right in between DLC 1 and DLC 2 at a very kind of awkward but opportune moment in window of marketing where it wasn't as long as what we'd seen previously, but it was still available for players in that downtime between DLC 1 and DLC 2. But now this is where it starts to get very interesting, because BLITZKRIEG was something that lasted for 3 weeks as on par with the other ones, but we now start to see where this can lead into the next event, because we've seen 3 instances of when we see this roll over into different events. So we saw that there was firstly a 3-week period between Winter Siege and the Resistance, then a 14-day period between Resistance and Shamrock and Awe, and then between Shamrock and Awe and BLITZKRIEG it was 14 days. So 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and 2 weeks. So now we start to see a very solid pattern here. So BLITZKRIEG to whenever the next event may be, that is anywhere between 14 to 21 days later, if this pattern holds true. Now, I would not expect it to be the 14-day one, and we'll get to that in a second, but my guess is that we end up seeing this happen in 21 days after, or 3 weeks after the BLITZKRIEG event ended, bringing us to May 29th for the 5th and next Untitled event in World War II. And this actually could lead right into DLC 3's launch event. So if we take a look at the calendar of how things have worked out in DLC launches in the past, DLC 3 is relatively right in the June to July timeframe. Now, what we have to take into account is Black Ops 4's earlier release time for this year. It's in October instead of November, so roughly 3 weeks before when we normally see Call of Duty launch is when we'll see Black Ops 4 launch this year. So that's going to greatly affect DLC 3 and DLC 4's time window on when we can end up seeing those released, but DLC 3 in the past has consisted of Infinite Warfare dropping its DLC 3 on July 6th of 2017, Black Ops 3 had July 12th of 2016, Advanced Warfare had June 2nd of 2015, and Ghosts had June 3rd of 2014. So that said, we end up seeing a little bit of a conflicting basis here on early June in the older Call of Duties to as of recently being in the July time window. Now, once again, with that expedited time frame of when we can see the reveals for things happening, so it does not push back the calendar of events too far, I'd expect this to happen in the early to mid-June for DLC 3, which that once again ties right in with that when this next event could happen. If we end up playing that 3-week time frame from when the downtime starts for BLITZKRIEG to when the next event starts, that'll take us to May 29th, which is only a few days earlier than that of what the earliest dates for DLC 3 would match up to. So that would really make sense in that regard if it ties in with DLC 3 and if we end up following the same pattern as what we've seen with early releases of DLC. So that's one time we can take a look at as well. But revisiting why I don't think that it'll happen in the 14-day period when that layoff happens, that would actually take us up until next week. Next Tuesday would theoretically be when the next event would start, and there's a couple of reasons why I don't think that this will happen. Firstly, it's way too close to Black Ops 4's official reveal. That starting on Thursday, which once again, I'll be out there for all of that, so if you guys are interested in all that kind of stuff, make sure you stick around at the channel. But that said, this entire weekend is going to be dedicated to Black Ops 4 stuff. People are going to be posting about it nonstop. All sorts of media, news outlets, YouTubers, all you can name will be having Black Ops 4 content. So to jump right into something without any promotion would be a little bit crazy in the sense of how marketing works with Activision. So next Tuesday would be that 14-day mark on when the event ended to when it would theoretically start up, and I just don't think that it would match up very well. Also, Sledgehammer said they actually are going to be pushing back their weekly update for this Friday and scheduling it on next Wednesday. So that's something that may even tease the reveal of this next event and maybe even DLC 3 moving forward, because next Wednesday would be 6 days before that 21-day layoff. So it's very possible that that is when we get the first inklings of the next event and possibly even DLC 3. But all signs to me point towards, once again, that 3-week time period. That 21 days after BLITZKRIEG event, which is in 2 weeks' time, so the 29th of May. So I think I'm gonna stick with my guns here on this one. It's an educated guess, but all completely theory, and in no way, shape, or form is confirmed. But I wanna let you guys know about this because if you guys are anything like me, you'll definitely wanna see the events within World War II because it keeps the content fresh. We get new featured playlists, we get new weapons, we get new things in the community that keeps the game active and keeps it worth grinding out for. So that's something that, as of the downtimes for these events, it's kind of a little bit of a task or chore to try and grind out ranks or supply drops or whatever, because because there's not consciously in that immediate view something to actively go for. So that said, these sorts of events really spice up World War II and really get me re-engaged with the game, and it's probably the same way for a lot of you guys, so I'm excited to see when this may happen, and I want to let you guys know about when you can maybe look forward to this coming within the next few weeks. And hopefully, once again, on the 29th, in just 2 weeks' time, we'll see something here for this. But that said, I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback on this theory. What do you guys think? Do you think this makes sense? Do you think it will be when we see the next event? Do you think it will tie in with DLC 3? Whatever it may be, feel free to let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Love to get your feedback on it. No right or wrong answer. But that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding Call of Duty World War II, and of course Black Ops 4 content. We're gonna be hammering that out the next couple of days, so make sure you stick it right here up on the channel if you guys are interested in anything regarding Black Ops 4, and of course early gameplay as well. We'll be posting all that here on the channel, so make sure you stick it right here. Follow me over on Twitter if you guys are not doing so already. That's the best place to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. And if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram as well, I'm gonna be posting a lot here within this next couple of days for the reveal event, so make sure you stick it over there if you guys want to stay up to date with all the adventures on that front, but that link is as well in the description. But I'll see you guys later. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic day. Mine is that Espresso. Take care and peace.